Here is a very important tip as you look to enter the IT field. Do not fake your resume. You can go out and get certification after certification after certification. But that doesn't mean if you take your Network Plus that you've got network skills. That means that you've got network knowledge. Doesn't mean that you can't share that information in the interview that you've studied, but you have to be honest. If you have not practiced it, it is not a skill. So as you think about your resume in IT, what you need to do is you need to take a step back, actually just take a clean piece of paper, right? Put that in front of you and start with experiences. List out every experience that you can think of. For the tech side, think you built a computer, you made a firewall for your house, you configured a router. Think of those basic, very basic things. If they're more advanced, think of the more advanced things, make a list, okay? Now you're going to take that list of experiences that you have, and now you're going to extrapolate out. So, you know, basic home networking, all right? You hooked up a computer, you hook up a router, and you understand basic IP and basic IP structure. Maybe you took your Network Plus course, certification course, and now out of that certification course, maybe you've only applied some basic network principles, basic home networking. You're going to put basic home networking down as a skill. Don't think, oh, it's just basic home networking. It's not going to mean anything to it. Listen, be honest on your resume. That is just so, so important. Next, what you're going to do is after you've got your experiences listed out and you've been able to kind of like highlight some skills, and you've got a little skill list that you've created, then you're going to go to your education last, okay? And then those things will come up on the interview. They'll look at your education and they'll say, oh, I see you took Network Plus, but you don't really have anything listed here. Well, let me tell you, I've got some head knowledge in Network Plus. I understand some principles, I understand some theory, but I haven't had the opportunity to put my hands on, you know, some hardcore switches to apply what I've learned. And I really want that opportunity. I'm really looking for that opportunity to apply my knowledge. They will respect that. What they won't respect, and I know I've been on the other side of the table, okay? So think of me as your potential employer, and I look at your resume and I start asking you some basic questions about networking and you just don't know the answers to them. Then I start to raise some questions. I start to have some red flags. Maybe we're in a phone call and I start to interview you and I'm looking at some things. Tell me about, you put down Network Plus. Tell me about what experience you have in networking. Be honest. You're just going to say, yeah, you know what, I haven't had an opportunity to apply that experience. I might even ask you what's holding you back, you know. Now, I'm going to give you a story here real quick. And I've seen a lot of resumes, okay, and I've been very selective. And when you go through this vetting process, basically at the surface level, you're looking at these things and you're saying, there's no experience, there's no experience, there's no experience as an employer. And I'm just almost chucking them in the trash because you don't have anything listed down that represents the skill that I'm looking for. So you got to think that way. You got to think like your employer's thinking as they have a conversation with you. I want to know you're honest. I know that you're putting down on paper and you're handing to me something. It's almost like you're signing off to say, I know this, I can do this. I would rather you say, I'm not sure, I need to learn, you know, I'm more than happy to learn. Is there anything that I can do I respect that. Now, I was in a situation where I hired somebody that I considered to be, at this point, looking back at it, they were a professional student. They came in, they said they knew programming, they had a beautiful resume. I asked them questions, they knew the answers to the questions, but then we got into the role and they fell apart. They couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle the basics, but they knew the answers. Professional students will know the answers. They're very good at taking tests, but they're not very good at applying some of that knowledge. So you got to practice. You've got to put your hands on hardware. You got to put your hands in the software. You got to figure things out. You got to get into the settings. You got to know that stuff. You got to be able to apply what you've learned in order to get a decent job in IT and to hopefully get you on the path that you're looking for. IT is diverse, right? There's just, it used to just be a handful of pathways in IT. Now it's just like numerous. You know, there's anybody from, you know, building a computer to building a network to supporting businesses with automation, programming, APIs, data analysts, you know, loading data into databases, database administrators, and then you can go down into a niche in each one of these things, and it's just a crazy big field. So don't let that overwhelm you. You get into some role and you can start that ball moving, and then you can figure out, ah, man, I really love this area of IT. I really love this area. I really love this area. And you can pursue it with all your heart. Now, the thing is, do not lie on that resume. You are damaging, you are hurting yourself, you're hurting your next step in your career path if you lie on your resume. So I hope that's helpful, and I hope that's encouraging. If you don't have a lot of stuff on your resume, that's okay. Make an honest attempt. Represent yourself well and with integrity, and that will say a lot to a potential employer.